So, you've gone out and invested in the latest, greatest AI tools, right? You're all set to completely transform your business. But here's the thing. There's this hidden foundation, this kind of invisible engine that will either make your AI fly or just leave it sputtering on the runway. Today, we're diving into the data architecture that makes or breaks any AI initiative. So let's get into it.
First up, we'll talk about why AI needs a whole new home in the first place. Then, we'll get into why your old systems just can't handle the job. After that, we'll lay out the blueprint for a truly AI-ready foundation, chat about who can help you build it, cover the new rules you'll need to manage it, and finally, look at how you measure success and what's coming next down the road.
All right, let's start with the big one. Why does AI even need a new foundation? Well, it all boils down to this fundamental conflict between these powerful new AI tools and the, let's face it, aging data systems that most companies are still running on. You know, this is the question so many people are asking themselves right now. You've got the tool, you've got the algorithm, the model is ready to go. You're ready for the revolution. But that tool, it's only half the story. Where's it getting its fuel? How is it actually processing information? That right there is where the real challenge begins.
And honestly, this analogy just hits the nail on the head. Trying to run a sophisticated AI model on a traditional data system. It's literally like putting a Formula One car on old city streets. It's slow, it's bumpy, it's full of potholes, and there's just no way you're ever going to reach top speed. What AI needs is a purpose-built racetrack, an architecture designed from the ground up for speed, for precision, and for peak performance.
Okay, so let's get a little more specific. What is it about those old city streets that makes modern AI just completely grind to a halt?
You see, it all comes down to why these systems were built in the first place. Your legacy data warehouse, for instance, was probably designed to answer questions about what happened last quarter. It's built for historical reports. But modern AI, it needs to make predictions and decisions in real time. We're talking about a completely different ballgame here.
The core issue, and this really gets to the heart of it, is that these older systems, quote, often lack the flexibility and performance characteristics necessary to support advanced analytics and machine learning at scale. They just can't handle the massive, complex, and super fast-moving data that AI models feed on. They simply weren't built for that kind of scale or speed.
Okay, so we've established the problem pretty clearly. The old roads just won't work. So now, let's talk solutions. Let's look at the actual blueprint for our Formula One racetrack. What does an AI-ready data architecture really look like?
Well, an AI-ready blueprint really stands on three massive pillars. It all has to start with data quality, because, let's be real, your AI is totally useless without trustworthy fuel. Next, you need a real-time architecture to process that fuel at incredible speeds. And finally, a hybrid cloud strategy gives you the freedom to build and run this whole thing wherever it makes the most sense.
And a really key concept here is something called data lineage. Think of it like this. It's the perfectly clean, perfectly documented surface of our racetrack. It tells you exactly where every single piece of data came from and every little change it's gone through. This is what guarantees your AI model is training on reliable, high-quality, and well-understood information.
And you absolutely have to get this right, because with AI, that old saying, garbage in, garbage out, gets magnified by 1,000. See, AI systems are designed to find patterns and act on them. So if you feed them biased or incomplete or just plain wrong data, they won't just give you a bad answer. No, they'll amplify that error at a massive scale, which can lead to some seriously dangerous and expensive business decisions.
Now this is the long straightaway of our racetrack. This is where the real speed happens. A real-time architecture means you're processing data the very instant it's created. This is the difference between flagging a fraudulent transaction after it happens versus blocking it as it's happening. It's what powers things like dynamic pricing and instant recommendations, using tech like Apache Kafka to make decisions in milliseconds, not hours.
Building a racetrack like this, well, it's a massive undertaking. It's not something you can just bolt onto your existing setup. This is where you might need to call in a specialized construction crew.
Think of specialized consultants as your expert architects and engineers. They start by surveying the land, basically, with a readiness assessment. Then they help you pick out the right materials and equipment by helping with technology selection. And, super importantly, they help you write the building codes and traffic laws with governance frameworks to make sure everything runs safely, securely, and legally.
So, once the racetrack is built, you can't just let anyone drive on it, right? You need new rules for the road and a totally new kind of pit crew to keep things running smoothly and, of course, safely.
And this is where two critical teams come into play:
Data ops and ML ops. Here's the easiest way to think about them. Data ops is the fuel crew. They make sure the data is clean, refined, and delivered perfectly to the engine. ML ops is the pit crew for the car itself, keeping the AI model tuned, monitored, and performing at its absolute peak in production. You absolutely need both of them working in perfect harmony.
And of course, every racetrack needs safety regulations. With all the growing concerns around privacy, you can't just move sensitive data wherever you want. And that's where all this cool privacy-preserving tech comes in. Things like federated learning let you train models on data without ever having to move it. Differential privacy adds a bit of statistical noise so you can see trends without identifying individuals. And homomorphic encryption is this mind-blowing field that lets you do math directly on encrypted data. These aren't just features, they're essential for building trust.
So you've done it. You've built the track, you've got the rules, the cars are running. How do you actually know if you're winning the race? Let's talk about the payoff, how to measure success, and what's coming around that next big turn. With a new kind of racetrack, you need a totally new way to keep score. The old metrics, things like storage costs and system uptime, they're just not what matters anymore. What matters now is the performance of the AI itself. How accurate is it? How fast is it? And this is the big one. Can you draw a straight line from what the model is doing to a real business outcome? Did it actually improve sales? Did it actually reduce costs? That's the only scoreboard that counts now.
And believe me, this race is only going to get faster. With large language models, generative AI, and even autonomous data systems just over the horizon, the demands on your data architecture are just going to keep growing. Building a flexible, adaptable foundation today is the only way you're going to be ready for whatever crazy innovations come next.
Which really leaves us with this final thought. For years, data architecture was seen as a cost center, right? A technical chore buried deep in the IT department. But in the age of AI, that way of thinking is completely obsolete. The question you have to ask yourself now is no longer, do we have a data architecture? But rather, is our data architecture our single greatest strategic advantage? Because the answer to that question is going to define the winners and the losers of the next decade.